new leaders was in the program in APP, and we wanted you to know that we have evolved over time and for you to be able to know the cool things that we have happening right now. And then we're going to have alumni impact resources. We are there to support you, so you'll find out all the great things that is happening with the alumni impact team. And then we're going to be doing some celebration. So we have our own version, we're all connected to schools. So we have our alumni superlatives. And then one of the things that you all love about being a New Leader alum and a part of our New Leaders Network is having great educational experiences. And so then we will have breakout rooms connected to the education landscape of tomorrow. And then we will have closings and, of course, that important survey. So it is my honor and privilege to introduce our CEO of New Leaders, Jean Desjardins. As you all know, Jean has been with New Leaders for a decade. I wonder if he's getting a pin. Does he get a watch for being here for 10 years? But Jean actually started off with the New York City Board of Ed under the Bloomberg administration and then transitioned to New Leaders. He's on many various different boards to impact change for children across the country. But his biggest and most important work is of being the CEO of New Leaders. I think it's always great to be able to hear about people's bios, but I do know that Jean usually hears his bio. So I thought we'll do something a little bit different by sharing a story, but also having so many of our new leaders have reached out to Jean, met with Jean, had meetings with Jean, attended panels with Jean. So if you have ever met with Jean or ever had an interaction with Jean, please drop in the chat one word to describe that moment that you had with Jean or something that you remember or a reflection about him. So many of us have interacted with him and have grown in our leadership because of Jean's leadership. So I just wanted to share a story, and it actually fits with Jean's outfit today. I call Jean the Shaft of fundraising. So if you know Shaft, he always comes out, he's always put together, he always says the right things, and that is Jean. And so seeing his outfit today with his vest on, I was like, look at him being Samuel L. Jackson for us. But I just wanted to share this note, and I just see all the comments coming in the chat. So when I was the ED of DC, Jean was the chief of cities, which meant he oversaw the EDs of cities and supported us in fundraising. And Jean, you probably don't remember this, but we were going to a City Bridge meeting for fundraising, and I was sitting there nervous about doing this. So we're in the cab and I'm like, oh, Jean, I really don't want to do this. Why do we have to do this? Why don't they just give us the money? And the part that Jean said to me that always resonated with me, he was like, Michelle, this is not about you. This is about the kids that we serve. And every time that we meet with a fundraiser, when we meet with a funder, when we have an opportunity to share the stories and the impact of our New Leaders alum and the work that they do every single day, that provides us an opportunity to make a change for children. And I sat in that car having to prep for this meeting, but it also helped me to reflect on the work that we do every day and how important our work is. And sometimes we get caught up in ourselves and we think this is about us, but it isn't. And the reason why we were all selected into New Leaders is because we have this relentless drive and a strong belief that every child can learn no matter their zip code, location, or background. And Jean just effortlessly just shared that with me to help me grow as a leader, to not be thinking about what was I worried about, but thinking about if we can make this happen, we get to support even more leaders in DC, which then has an even bigger impact for the children of DC at that time. But as the CEO of New Leaders, he thinks about that every single day. He thinks about how do we make this happen for the kids that we serve across this country, and has never forgotten about the mission of New Leaders. And he is making sure that we have this opportunity today because he knows that if we're growing you are all making those connections, we have a bigger impact. And so today, Gene is going to take us on that journey and the evolution of our work and the impact that we have and the impact that we will continue to have. And I'm just excited to be able to say that he's my CEO and my boss. And I'm very happy to bring him to the mic virtually to share all the evolutions and the change and the impact of new leaders. So I turn it over to you, Gene.
Wow. Thank you so much for that kind introduction, Michelle. It means a great deal. I just want to take a quick minute to just say how much of a pleasure it is to be with all of you today. Engaging in conversations with our new leader community is always a highlight of my day. As you all know, once a new leader, always a new leader. I want to make you aware of how we've evolved as an organization. I want to share how we're planning to ensure we're supporting you to set you up for success, as Michelle pointed out, because the work you're doing is so vitally important. But most importantly, I want to start by acknowledging the great and important work that you are doing each and every day on behalf of students. And I want to celebrate you, each and every one of you, because I know all too often you are in the trenches doing the work day in and day out without the recognition and the celebration that you deserve. When you look at the impact that you're having both individually and collectively, I want you to look at some of these numbers. Currently, we have over 8,000 alumni across the country, impacting over 2 million students. Collectively, you are the equivalent of the size of 2 New York cities in terms of the impact you're having. I mean, we are bigger than the largest school system in the country 2 times over. And the students we're serving, overwhelmingly students of color, overwhelmingly students from low-income communities. Each and every day, you're proving what is possible for all of our students. While we know the importance of getting gains for these students, particularly in this moment in time, ongoing once-in-a-century pandemic, issues around racial justice, you understand the importance of providing holistic support for students, for teachers, for your entire school community. I cannot underscore how much that means, particularly in this day and time. As a result of your amazing leadership in the work that you're doing, a number of you are going to leadership at the system level. Next slide. And I just want you to see, what does that mean? Roughly 20% of our alumni are in system level roles. And that doesn't include alumni who go on to executive roles in government or the nonprofit sector. But while it's great that our leaders are being promoted, what's more important in many ways is your unwavering commitment to stay in education. Because what we know is this is truly a marathon, it's not a sprint. close to 90% of our alumni stay in education after 5 years. And as we look at the work over the past 20 years, we know how much it has changed. And as Michelle alluded, as an organization, we have recognized all of the changes and we've had to evolve as well. And what does that mean? I want you all to think about, and I want to raise the level of awareness of how we have grown as an organization. We have always believed that the school is the unit of change for our students. And if the school is the unit of change, the principal is the fulcrum of education. Everything happens in that school is made possible by the work that many of you do each and every day. Set the vision, create the culture, create the environment where our students can thrive, inspire our teachers. And while we understand that the principal is at the center, it's also become clear that without having the right enabling conditions and having the right leadership around alignment and cohesion, that there are limitations to the work that a principal can do. Given that reality, we've evolved our work over the past several years to provide support across the continuum, from teacher leaders to aspiring and sitting principals, principal supervisors, and district leaders. As we think about our work over the next several years, and this is really important, so we want to make sure we underscore this so you get a sense of, well, where's New Leaders going over the next 5 years? There are a few things that we want to fundamentally do. One, we want to be the largest provider of equity-focused leaders in the country, and I'll talk a bit more about that. Second, we want to ensure that through the amazing leaders we've got now in place, that we drive school and system change to show what is possible when you have the right leaders working to drive outcomes for kids. We want to create that evidence base on what's possible. None of that could happen without all of you. So in many ways, you are the foundation of the work that we are envisioning. And we have to do all of this work in a way that is financially sustainable. Next slide. So this gives you a sense of understanding the critical role that you play. And Michelle and the team will talk a bit more about this. This just gives you a snapshot of all of the ways that we want to be supportive of you. And we want to get your feedback through surveys, through conversations around what else can we be doing to set you up for success. I mentioned earlier that one of our biggest priorities is to be the largest provider of equity-focused leaders in the country. I want to talk to you about a partnership that I am incredibly proud of. As we all know, for all too long, we've had this shameful representation gap in this country. And while the majority of our students are students of color, less than 20% of our teachers and principals are leaders of color. We have seen the impact we can have through the work we've done at New Leaders, where the majority of our leaders represent and are reflective of the students that they serve. Given what we've learned, given the shared reality, we formed this partnership with Morehouse College and Clark Atlanta University to create an online principal certification and master's program. The goal here is simple. We want to move the needle on a representation gap by being this largest provider of equity-focused leaders. And we want to show what happens when you have those type of leaders in place to drive student achievement gains. Before I turn it over to Mary to share how you can help us achieve this goal, I want to share a final reflection with all of you. Michelle started by sharing the story when we were together in DC. The reason why it is easy for me to go and meet with funders to fundraise is because while they can't see all of you, I know we have an army of dedicated, committed leaders who's doing everything possible to drive outcomes on behalf of kids. That fortifies me as I speak with funders. I know that you work tirelessly on behalf of students because you know how powerful and important a good education is. We appreciate you. But there's something else I want to make sure I remind all of you. Make sure you are taking time and doing everything possible to take care of yourselves and to maintain your well-being. You cannot really serve your students, your teachers, and your communities if you're not around. It is imperative that you prioritize your mental and your physical health, because as I pointed out earlier, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. You're in this for the long run. And we need you. More importantly, the kids that you serve each and every day needs you. Thank you for everything that you've done and you continue to do on behalf of kids. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Mary, who will give you an overview of how you can support us to make this partnership with Morehouse and Clark Atlanta a reality. Mary?
Thank you so much, Jean. I don't know how I follow that up, but I'm just going to take a few minutes of your time to share a little bit about how we hope we can lean on you all, our New Leaders alumni, to meet these ambitious goals and spread the word about this fellowship program. I'm Mary King. I'm part of the team working to expand the fellowship here at New Leaders. As Jean shared, this program may be new, but it was built upon the expertise and impact New Leaders created in partnership with all of you, our alumni. And now it's taken, all of that knowledge and that work and that impact and created an online principal certification and master's degree program that we deliver in partnership with Clark Atlanta University and Bank Street College of Education that reaches, aspiring principals in over 40 states. We want to make the high quality preparation and coaching and community that you all experienced and that supported you and continues to support you even more accessible. And so we're asking you to help us inspire even more incredible educators to become leaders who will join us in transforming schools for our kids. At this exact moment, almost this exact moment, we have almost 100 applicants being offered a place in our next cohort, which for our new Leaders alumni from our inaugural cohort who are here today, I'm sure that sounds incredible, an incredible place to be from where you all started. But that's just a small step in our ambition to close the representation gap in school leadership. Anecdotally, some of our strongest candidates have been tapped by New Leaders alumni like yourselves, or been inspired to choose our program because they've seen what a new leader educator can do and they aspire to follow in your footsteps. And we have the research to back up the power of that shoulder tap, so to speak. So I hope that you will take out your phones, that you will scan this QR code. I'll also drop the link in the chat as well as soon as I'm done speaking. So I hope you will click the link, scan the code, and nominate 1, 2, 3 more educators that you feel have potential to be great leaders from your networks. And we'll take it from there. We'll do all the work. We'll make sure to work with you if you like to follow up with those nominees to hopefully inspire them to take that next step in their professional career and their journey. And I just imagine if each of you nominated even a few educators, the wave of incredible principals that we could collectively introduce to schools and students around the country, it would be truly incredible. So I really hope that you will decide to join us and consider who you think might be the next great new leader alum from your communities and your networks.
Thank you so much, Mary, for dropping that link in. And new leaders, of course, you know, a great teacher leader, a great dean, a great assistant principal that you would like, oh, they should have the same type of learning and experience that I had when I came through APP or emerging leaders. So please just take a moment, think about that person, fill out that link, and get them on their journey to leadership. If we have any of our inaugural class of our NAPF, if they would like to drop in the chat that they're representing today, we would love to give you a round of applause. We're so excited to be able to have you all with us in your first town hall after completing your program in March and getting your school bell. So I know a lot of our alums remember getting their school bells. And of course, they got it in March. So we're so happy that they are joining us and a part of our community. So please feel free to reach out to them, but hopefully they drop in the chat where they're at, because of course, they're all across the country. So in our next part, we are going to talk about our alumni impact. And to be able to talk about the strategic partnerships and alumni impact team, today is 7/11. And anybody that knows me knows that I love music. And so we're going to take a quick little music break to hear one of our most infamous songs of the decade to represent today. So Dorota, can you drop that song right now? Of course, it is the great Beyonce with her 7/11 song. So we're so excited. I know that there are probably a few of you that might have gone to the European tour, or you're going to see her in America. Super excited. But of course, we had to play Beyonce on 7/11 today. And hopefully you don't forget about 7/11 and get your free Slurpee. But behind every great team is the masterful people that I get to share every single day with virtually, but they are so marvelous. I have to introduce you to your alumni impact team, strategic partnerships and alumni impact team. These are the people that you can reach out to if you have a question, if you need support, you have a wondering, or you want to give us feedback, please just email us. That's what we're here for. So first in our lineup, of our starting lineup is Nicole. She is our Senior Director of Alumni Programming. I guarantee you, you have either met Nicole virtually or met her in person because she sends out such warm and thoughtful emails to you all, but she also creates great programming. So if you attended any of our just-in-time workshops like that public student loan forgiveness or equity series or our DC or Chicago Black Women series, you probably met Nicole there. Drop in the chat that you attended that. So exciting. The person that has been helping us create this wonderful opportunity and many others is Dorota. She's our Senior Manager of Operations. So you also probably get a lot of emails from Dorota. So if you ever have a question or you need something to be able to navigate, Dorota is your person. Next up on our starting lineup is Ashley. She's our director of programming, a part of our strategic partnerships and alumni impact. So if you ever been a part of Exploring New Schools model, you better represent for Ashley right now. She, of course, leads that great learning experience, and we've had a couple of cohorts doing some fabulous work. And she also provides supports in our strategic partnerships coaching. Next up is Dr. Jenny, and you probably know her through our strategic partnership work. So either through coaching or other meetings that we've had to connect you with our consulting side of our work. And so that is Jenny. And then next up is our education pioneers. We only have them for the summer, but they have had a big impact on our team. And that is Travis and Zoe, and they're part of the Education Pioneers group and learning about the work. So you will be able to learn more about all the great things that we have happening from our different team members. And yes, Nicole, we are small, but we are definitely mighty, and we're here to support you all. So thinking about our theory of action, I'm just going to focus on two things today. One is development, right? And so we have a lot of different ways that we provide development. As I shared, we have Exploring New School model, we have just-in-time workshops, we have series. So if you ever participate in the equity series, that's what we provide. We get that information from the survey. We're going to harass you all day today about the survey, but we get that feedback from you, and we create the best workshops that we can to make sure that we're providing a great learning experience for you. So we really work hard to develop you. In addition, we have our new component of our theory of action, which is activate you. And so we want you to be our champions. We want you to be able to know that you can always come home and use our services. So when you think about like, oh, I am struggling with our teacher leaders, think about new leaders. We have ILTs for teacher leaders. If you are principal supervisors and you're thinking about like how to work with my principals, or I want to provide a professional development for them, hey, think about new leaders. If you're thinking about how do I create my pipeline and grow my leaders in my network because I'm a CEO or a superintendent, think about new leaders. Yes, we are here to be able to support you, and we want to activate you and your community bigger than just your new leaders network to think about all the different ways that we're able to provide supports to you. So I just say like the Verizon commercial back in the day, there's 100 people standing behind you and ready to support you and your kids to greatness. So how do we get this information to create the development or know what to activate for you all? It is from our survey. So here are a couple of things that we wanted you to think about, right? Things that you were interested in was like LEAD, an outside program to help you develop in your policy work. Personal leadership. You remember coaching when you were in APP or emerging leaders, and you're like, I want to still grow in my personal leadership. Networking opportunities. You always want to know what's going on with everyone else, school leadership, and just-in-time workshops. So you might say, there's something coming down the pike, or there's a new policy. It will be great if new leaders can put on a workshop so we can have a better understanding about what's happening. Of course, our impact is dialogue with other new leaders has always been invaluable. We know when you make connections with each other, you're making things happen. We always try to have offerings that support your current practice. The next part is we've had last year 463 alumni respond to the annual alumni survey. We know, and you know we're very data-driven and new leaders, that we can double that number. Like I know that we can make this happen, team, that we can get to 1,000, which is even more than doubling, but I don't know that exact percentage because that would be math. But the other math people on here can figure that out for me. But we can double our numbers and get to 1,000 people to fill out the survey so we know exactly what you need, how we can provide for supports for you, and make sure that you have all that you have asked for. So please drop your, please fill out our survey, and you'll hear more about that later on. Guess what? Because we try to provide you with so many different resources, we actually have a platform for that. Yes, we actually have a platform. that platform is getting redone. You guys gave us some feedback. See, when you fill out a survey, what happens? So you gave us feedback. It wasn't as easy to use. So guess what? We're changing it up. We're going to have the same link, but a new layout, easier to use. You're going to be able to go back to different workshops. You'll be able to look at our newsletters. You'll be able to have links, videos. Sometimes you want that, oh my gosh, I remember getting that 4-step action plan. Where is that at? Where can I find that resource? Guess what? You'll be able to find that on the link. So it will be the same link, but a new layout. We'll send that to you in our newsletter coming to you in August, but it will be at your fingertips to be able to get great resources that you know that we have. Next up, I get to turn it over to my colleague, Nicole, who's going to be talking about our inaugural National Alumni Advisory Board, who helps us think through all of these great ideas. So I'm turning it over to you, Nicole.
Thank you so much, Michelle. It's exciting to be able to celebrate this phenomenal group here. Back in 2001, 2 years ago, we made the decision to start this inaugural National Alumni Advisory Board, in part because we're sitting at the national lens and we want to make sure that the alumni voice is present, it's heard, and that we are considering all of those aspects in our programming. And so we have a phenomenal group of 10 alum from across the US who are leading in schools, leading in districts, and in organizations. And they've spent the past couple of years really over 1,000 hours, I should say, their personal time meeting, thinking about alumni work, thinking about all of you and how to make sure that those resources are meaningful, timely, and relevant for your needs. And so I just want to take this time to celebrate them and thank them for their incredible work and really helping us to promote events. So if they're texting you and texting you to be here, it is done with love and with heart because we want to be the greatest organization. We want to be the largest provider of equity-focused leadership by 2027. And in order to do that, we have to make sure that our alumni voice is present and that we are supporting you all with those needs. And so I just want to introduce you to some of those phenomenal leaders who have been really working the past couple of years to really strategize programming. We utilize this group to pressure test different types of approaches and for innovation. We can't think of everything, and so we need fresh ideas and perspectives of those who are communicating with our alums. So representing Prince George's County, my colleague and friend, Dr. Dana Tutt from cohort 11. We also have Dr. Erica Henderson representing cohort 6 from Chicago by way of Memphis now. She's leading there now, but she's representing cohort 6. We have Jazz Thurman representing cohort 15 from Chicago. There's a lot of love in the chat for Chicago. Vicki Stokes from Chicago as well, representing cohort 8. We have, again, my colleague, cohort 11, Richter Craig from DC. We have Michael Ray representing cohort 13 from the Bay Area by way of Atlanta. He's leading in that system now. We have Dr. Denise Gafford, who is representing Newark, and she is cohort 15. I think they have a name for their cohort. She'll probably drop it in the chat for everyone. Clarissa Domenici from cohort 9, Chicago. And we have 2 leaders who supported us during our first year, and I definitely want to give kudos and credit to them. And that's Jay Hartland, superintendent in Connecticut, but he represents cohort 7 from Baltimore. And another cohort 7 out there, Ed Morris, representing Chicago again, from cohort 7, but he is in Texas now. But I just want to say that this group has really been phenomenal. And so I appreciate the innovation, the really great ideas to help new leaders be the best organization that we can be. And so I want to thank them for their personal time. And I love all the kudos and celebrations in the chat and thank them publicly for their awesome leadership. So as we transition to our next, I want to pass it on to our colleague, Jenny, who's going to be talking about money, 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 free money coming your way. So you definitely want to turn on for this. Passing it on to you, Jenny.
Great. Thanks so much, Nicole. Yes, free money. We have free money available. Every year, New Leaders selects 10 alumni leaders to receive the Roberts Award for School Innovation. And these are grants of between $10,000 and $25,000 to fund high impact projects for schools. Awards are granted to alumni leaders that address a specific academic, social, physical, or emotional student need and will have measurable and sustainable impact. To date, we've been able to fund 78 New Leaders alumni projects, which have totaled $2.26 million, which is an astounding amount. We will profile some of these alumni winners later in the town hall so that you can have a glimpse into some of the work that they're doing. In the meantime, go ahead and scan the QR code that's on the screen here to learn more. As Nicole said, this is a great opportunity to earn some easy money for your school. So an application seems like a no-brainer. We also wanted to share with you some of the exciting upcoming events that are connected to our alumni team's theory of action to support alumni to deepen their impact in their current roles and as they grow in their careers. We are particularly excited about our Science of Reading professional development opportunity. It's a 4-part series. We have the last 2 sessions coming up in July and August. If you haven't been to the first 2 sessions of the series, no worries, you're still welcome to come to the second 2 sessions. Scan the QR code that's on the screen here to be directed to our link tree where you can learn of details about all of these events, register to attend them, and subscribe to get updates about future events. If you are in the DC area, please join us in DC next week. We are very excited to be having an alumni networking event, and there's a QR code on the screen here for more details about that event. And I am going to pass it over to my colleague, Ashley Martin.
Awesome. Thank you, Jenny. I really appreciate it. So I'm just going to really briefly speak to the alumni newsletter. We send this newsletter out the second Wednesday of every single month. We include important information about upcoming events, updates on the work that we are doing to activate our alumni. We spotlight the transformative and incredible work that you all do, as well as including job openings around the country. So we highly suggest that you stay active and open that newsletter every week. It should come to your email. And if you are not receiving the newsletter, please email our team so that we can reactivate you. If you don't open the newsletter a certain amount of times in a row, it will deactivate you. So we want to make sure that you guys are active if you want to be. The next is our annual alumni survey. You've heard a lot of my colleagues talk about this. We really, really value your feedback. Our work is in service of you. And so we really need as many people to complete the alumni survey as possible. Last year, as Michelle said, we had 463 respondents, and our goal this year is 1,000. So we know you can help us to get there. The survey should be in your inbox now. It is a unique link. If for some reason you did not get your unique link, please email the alumni engagement team and we'd be more than happy to provide that for you. And for the first 75 people who complete the alumni survey are going to get this really cool New Leaders alumni speaker. And Dorota has confirmed that the quality is amazing, beach quality. And so we highly recommend that you guys do your survey ASAP because these things are going to go like hotcakes. So I'm now going to pass it over to Michelle.
So as we shared previously, we wanted to take a moment to give some shout outs to some of our alumni superlatives, because we know that you do such great work. We know that a lot is going on in our country. We know a lot is going on in our schools and in our cities. And we just wanted to take a moment to give you all a big shout out. So our first award actually goes to a Vision Award to Dr. Kendra Hightower. I am not going to read everything that a teacher from her school sent us in an email, but you can read some of it on the screen. But we thought it was so important that we highlight one of our alum who literally had a teacher reach out to us and say, I don't know if you do awards. I don't know how I can celebrate my principal even more, but I need you to know what a phenomenal job she does. And we're so excited that we could take this moment to celebrate Dr. Kendra Hightower, the principal of Ridgeway Early Learning Center. She's the proud wife of Thurston and a loving mother of 3 boys, Cameron, Tristan, and Carson. She's been an educator for over 20 years of experience and a founding teacher of Ridgeway Early Learning Center. And she has been this principal there for the past 7 years, making lasting impact in early childhood education. And so we want to take a moment just to give her a big shout out for being such a visionary leader. And she will get today the Vision Award. Congratulations, Dr. Kendra Hightower. Zooming In Award. This goes to Dr. LaDonna Broswell. She is the principal at North Parkway Middle School, and she is definitely representing our Shelby County in our Memphis. She is an active member of her historic First Baptist Church and a member of the Gamma Alpha Omega chapter of Kappa Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. You know, that was probably hard for me to get out as a member of Zeta. But anyway, she is doing so many fabulous things. She is the principal and brings over 17 years of expertise and experience with a diverse background encompassing roles as an elementary teacher, instructional facilitator, resident principal, and a district coach. She's been doing everything. She is so driven for the success of her students. She has had such great impact. One of the reasons why we are zooming in on Dr. LaDonna Broswell is because she is such an active new leader. It's like when we send out a message or a Eventbrite, she is signing up so that she can continue to grow and have even bigger impact. She's a member of our Exploring New Schools members. She's a winner of the Roberts Awards. We can go on and on and on, but we're so happy to be able to celebrate the Zooming In Award for Dr. LaDonna Broswell. Next up, this might have a little special place in my heart, but we are going to give the next award to the Captain of Leadership Award to Myron Long. Yes, representing DC and that wonderful cohort. Myron's passion for social justice and equity is deeply rooted in his role as a parent of 2 children, Glorious and Honor, serving as a constant motivation for his advocacy and dedication to creating more equitable education. A proud native Washingtonian and graduate of DC Public School, Myron is the founder and executive director of the Social Justice School, bringing the commitment to social justice and equity to the forefront of his educational leadership. And we are recognizing Myron today because of his impact and making change, that he has been a 2 times Roberts Award winner. He is also in numerous fellowships because of his great work that he has done for his school and being a leader in the alumni community. Anytime we reach out to Myron, he picks up the phone and responds and is there for us. So we just wanted to give a shout out to Myron Long, the Captain of the Leadership Award. Next up, as we shared earlier from Jenny, that we have the next 3 are about our Roberts Awards. Yes, show me the money. Yes, you can get that money. You just have to fill out that survey and get between $10,000 to $15,000. I don't know why this is hard, but we are reminding you to please fill this out. We wanted to also exhibit some of the great things that has happened in our schools because of these leaders and using the Roberts Awards. So next up is Dashae Rowland, and she is a proud assistant principal at the LaSalle Language Academy, going on for 3 years. What she decided to do at her school was create the LaSalle Sensory Room, being supported by the Roberts Awards. And this will provide essential SEL intervention by fostering a sensory development, tailored experience, and self-regulations to help improve attention and cooperative skills for students past COVID. And so in the middle picture is what it currently looks like, and the two pictures on the side is what they want their sensory room to be. So again, the Roberts Awards allowed you to do things that you might not be able to use, which are traditional school funding sources. Next up, we have, again, another Roberts Award with Shalinda Warren. She is the Academy Director and Instructional Coach at Paul Laurence Dunbar Senior High School. She was a part of our Emerging Leaders, and she's representing DC. Sheila was actually a native of Arkansas and an Army veteran. We thank you for your service, and is accomplished as a social studies teacher, but she's also has notable recognition by being 2021 District of Columbia Teacher of the Year finalist and second runner-up for recently for the prestigious award for 2022, the American Civic Education Teacher Award. She is making things happen, and we're so proud of her. She's actually currently a doctoral student in urban leadership from Johns Hopkins. For her award, she wants to empower over 800 students, increasing their leadership skills in her school and expose them to new experiences and improve their academic performance and enhance their well-being and a reduction in behavioral concerns, ultimately changing their lives. We're so proud of you, Principal Warren. Next up is Daniela Anello, and she is representing she is the head of school of DC Bilingual. And under her leadership, she has achieved recognitions as one of the top elementary charter schools in DC, according to the DC Public Charter School Board. She also has held previous positions as a leadership coach, president principal, interim principal, and then eventually as the head of school. Her dedication has helped to foster new buildings and serving over 500 students. And even her children go to her school, so she definitely believes in it. Because of the Roberts Awards that she has used, she has created a vibrant and inclusive bilingual library, fostering the love of reading, but empowering students to explore their non-dominant language, serving as a valuable resource both for students and the community, and enriching the literacy-focused events and opportunities using her awards. So as you can see, leaders, so once again, we would like to celebrate Daniela Anello for her Roberts Awards work. So if you did not get that link before, don't worry about it. We're about to drop it here. You can scan the QR code and just start filling it out. You might say, oh, I am a instructional coach. Can I use it? Yes, you can. As long as you're a New Leader alum and you work in a school or you support multiple schools, you can apply for this Roberts Award. So we truly do hope that you guys will also be able to shine next year during our alumni superlatives. So now I am going to turn it back over to my colleague Nicole to give a special shout out to some people that are very dear to our hearts.
This picture that you're looking at here represents community. It also represents mission, and it represents excellence. What you're looking at is all of our new leaders, staff members who are also alum. So we have at New Leaders, there are 35 staff members who went through the same programming, Boston, Philly, virtually. They went through all of those programming. And so there are 35 leaders across 5 departments. I just want to, on behalf of our team, publicly thank them for working with their teams to promote events, to help us amplify the work of new leaders and to strategize. It is a wonderful opportunity to be able to partner with mission-oriented leaders who truly value equity and understand what the program means at the participant level. And for those experiences to then be able to translate that learning to new educators and future education leaders. So I just want to thank them. Isn't that a great picture? And if you want to join us, just also put a little plug in there that New Leaders is looking for a director of content for our National Aspiring Principals Fellowship for Design. So if you're interested in curriculum and design, check out the New Leaders website and you too can join this amazing picture. So thank you so much to all of our staff members who are also alum. As we transition to the next part of our program, I just want to first start with saying the reason that we are inviting leaders is because we heard from you. One thing that alum constantly tell us is that you don't want to hear from us all the time. You want to be able to hear from national leaders who are on the cusp of innovation. And you always want something ahead of other groups. And so we did our job today to make sure that we're bringing you levels of innovation because that is what you told us that you wanted. And so I'm very excited to be able to transition us to breakout groups today. We have 6 different breakout groups. Our first breakout group, we have Dr. Amanda Alexander, who is cohort 3 from New York by way of DC right now, but she's representing as a Chief Academic Officer from Scholastic, and her colleague, Dr. Joyce Jamerson. They're going to be talking about in that room how to make sure that as we prepare scholars for this reading and literacy, that you're attending to the needs of the scholars, but doing so in an innovative, personalized way. So I want to thank them for leading that session. And then our next breakout group is going to be AI for principals and school leaders, what you need to know. There's so much out there. And so this session is for you to be able to compartmentalize what AI looks like from that leadership landscape. And so excited to have Parker Van Nostron and Patty Ruiz, who are going to be leading that session. And a special shout out to Jessica Jackson, cohort 10 from Memphis, to help us to be able to partner with them today. And they are from Digital Promise. Our next group is talking all about strategic partnerships and how do you truly strengthen a team for an entire district. And so New Leaders has been working with 2 districts, and we have on this particular focus, we have Liz Kirby, who is cohort 2 from Chicago. So represent Liz and give her some love in the chat. And she's going to be talking about what that strategic partnership support looks like as New Leaders helps to think about strengthening the teams, and supporting her from talking about the work of Skokie and what that partnership looks like is Dan Schwartz, who was the Director of Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment in Skokie. And then for those who like to do design thinking and talk about innovation, we have Sam Seidel, who is with us, and we're super excited to learn about all of those hacks. We have Lee with us for those individuals who want to transition. Think about your roles as a senior leader. Maybe you're a principal, maybe you're working in the school district or a teacher leader, and you're thinking about, I want to then impact on a policy level or work in civic leadership. How do I take that school leader experience and transition that into a high impact policy and advocacy role? So we do have Michael Whaley and Naya Bloom who are going to be with us talking about that work. And then lastly, as we begin talking about the National Aspiring Principals Fellowship and ways to bring in a new wave of leaders and thinking about how do you diversify your platform, we have our very own leader, Dr. Michelle Pierre-Farid from cohort 3, representing New Leaders. So our breakout rooms are going to open in just a minute, and I want to thank those for registering in advance. If you didn't register in advance, then we have either reached out to you and are able to populate you in the room. And if you're thinking, wow, I want to be in all of the sessions, I want to go to every single session. Well, one, you're going to have to wait to 2025 when we are in Hawaii, right? We're claiming it. But we are recording each of those sessions. And when we send out the resources, we'll make sure that you have access to all of these sessions so that you can spend time this summer engaging in the content. So as we transition over to our breakout groups, the room will open and we will do closeout from that location, and then we will do our survey from our breakout group. I want to thank you for being engaged and enjoy your breakout session.